before has our planet Earth been faced with so many environmental problems, because never before has been there such a large global population. Living is polluting. With increasing population, it's quite impossible to control pollution problems. The water we drink, the air we breathe, the land we live are rapidly being polluted. This exposes us to new risks from diseases. So first, let's define what is pollution. Biologists define pollution as the undesirable change in the physical, chemical, or biological characteristic of an ecosystem that injures or kills living organism and makes part of the ecosystem unfit for the use we want to make of it. And pollution is the introduction of harmful materials into the environment. These harmful materials are called pollutants. Pollutants can be natural, such as volcanic ash. They can also be created by human activities, such as trash or runoffs produced by factories. Pollutants damage the quality of air, water, and land. So, here are the major sources of today's pollution. First, agriculture and food. Second, energy. Third, industrial. Fourth is the manufacturing. Fifth is services. Sixth is the transport. And lastly is the waste.
General classification of pollution. First is air pollution. It is a contamination of the indoor or outdoor environment by any chemical, physical, or biological agent that modifies the natural characteristic of the atmosphere. Point and non-point sources are used to categorize the sources of the pollution. When say point sources are those that can be easily identified and are stationary, such as factory smokestacks, while non-point sources are not easily identified and may not continuously emitting pollutants. So the source of the pollution, the rate of emission, the wind, and the topography or the location are only of the few of the variables that affect how polluted an area air is. Major kinds of air pollutants. In our country, principal air pollutants are identified and regulated by Republic Act 8749 or the Philippine Clean Air Act of 1999. Primary pollutants are released in harmful forms, while secondary pollutants became hazardous after reactions on the air. Outdoor air pollutants are emission caused by combustion processes from motor vehicles, solid fuel burning, and industry. On the other hand, indoor air pollutants are the accumulation or buildup of chemicals suspended solid. It can be particulate and volatile organic compounds inside offices, buildings, houses, schools, and commercial establishments that are harmful to health. Sources and problems of major pollutants. The picture shows the sources and problems of major pollutants. Example of air pollution. In 2013, Iloilo City looked at its sources of air pollution and produced an emissions inventory. One major finding was unexpected indoor pollution from burning solid fuels in homes is a major source of air pollution in the city. So even though LPG is widely available, people still rely on charcoal for cooking. Another contributor to air pollution is jeepneys, the city's popular mode of transport. Another types of pollution is the water pollution. Water pollution is the contamination of water bodies usually as a result of human activities so that it negatively affects its uses. It refers to any physical, biological, or chemical change in water quality that adversely affects living organisms or makes water unsuitable for desired uses. Example of water pollution. The Iloilo River in the Philippines is an estuarine ecosystem where urbanization has increased throughout the years and caused deterioration in the water quality of the river. Sewage pollution from human and animal waste is a major source of organic contaminants that has greatly reduced the water quality of Iloilo River.
Another one is biological pollution. Biological pollution, to simply put, is the introduction of organisms that do not normally occur in a location, but rather as a result of intentional or unintentional human activities that may have a big impact on the quality of our aquatic ecosystem and the terrestrial environment. The next one is land pollution. Based on the information in the slide, it can be concluded that dumping wastes, composts, and other materials on the land results in land pollution, which can be hazardous on the environment and the living beings when contaminated. In addition, waste from sewage treatment facilities, oil rigs, vessels that washes ashore might contribute to it. So our trash and garbage end up in open dumps, which are listed as a prohibited location to dispose of garbage; ocean dumping, the act of depositing hazardous trash at sea from ships, airplanes, and other man-made structures; landfills, it is where the burying and soil covering of rubbish and other things is done; exporting waste is the bringing of undesired goods or rubbish into other nations in order to pursue international businesses; and the incineration and resource recovery, the process of destroying or burning of garbage materials and turning them into a new product. So the example of land pollution is the lack of sanitary landfills in Iloilo province causes problems for the local government units or LGUs, as the majority of the towns only use Pasay City's integrated waste management facility to dispose of their specific wastes. Additionally, they are unable to construct their own sanitary landfills due to a lack of land that may be utilized for such a purpose, a lack of resources and labor, a lack of tools, and the absence of an environment officer.
So there are options in shrinking of our wastes. First, we have recycling. Recycling is the processing of discarded materials into new useful products. It also can save money, energy, raw materials, and land space, while also reducing pollution. Recycling also encourages individual awareness and responsibility for the refused products. It also reduces the pressure in landfills and incinerators for raw resources and reduces energy consumption and air pollution and reducing. And another important factor of recycling is we turn litter into a useful product. An example of recycling is the collection of old newspapers and magazines for repulping and their manufacture into new paper products. Another example is we convert old sheets, towels, and clothing into wash rags. Next, we have composting. Composting is the biological degradation or breakdown of organic matter under aerobic conditions. The organic compost resulting from this process makes nutrient, which is soil amendment that aids in water retention, slows soil erosion, and improves crop yields. So what can be composted? Fruits, vegetables, dairy products, grains, bread, unbleached paper napkins, coffee filters, eggshells, meats, newspapers, and many more can be composted. Third is the energy from waste. In developing countries, 85% of the waste is biodegradable materials. In landfill, much of this matter is decomposed by microorganisms, generating billions of cubic meters of methane. Many cities are drilling methane wells in their landfills to capture this valuable resource. This valuable resource can provide fuel for cooking and electricity. So there are a number of ways of generating energy from waste. These include combustion, gasification, pyrolysis, anaerobic digestion, and landfill gas recovery.
To continue, the next way to reduce environmental pollution is through demanufacturing. Demanufacturing is the disassembly and recycling of obsolete consumer products such as TV, computers, refrigerators, washing machines, and air conditioners. The purpose of demanufacturing is to remove and recycle every usable component in a device rather than just discarding it into a landfill. Electronics also contain toxic components that can contaminate the soil and water if not disposed properly. So it's important that everyone knows how to recycle their broken gadgets and appliances or donate them to an e-waste recycling facility in order to reduce pollution. Next is reuse. Reusing is the act of taking old items that we might consider throwing away and finding a new use for them. Reusing old and unused materials
can reduce the impact of pollution by keeping them out of landfills and preventing the need to spend money and energy on remaking them into new materials. For example, we can turn our old clothes into cleaning rags or use old plastic canisters and glass jars to store food, school supplies, and bathroom essentials. And lastly, producing less waste. We can help in the reduction of pollution by producing less waste. Not only we can bring a positive impact on the environment, but it also allows us to save money and resources. We can reduce our waste by only buying products that we only need, purchasing in bulk to cut excess packaging, and opting for reusable materials over disposable ones.